Councillor Balma, Councillor Pierce, second by Councillor Pierce. All in favor? Opposed? Carried. Declaration of pecuniary interest by any member of council. Reconsideration requires 2/3 majority vote to approve the recommendation that's before us. Can we have a motion of reconsideration? Councillor Balma.
So moved.
By Councillor Wheat. All in favor?
Should we wait?
Carried.
Mayor,
Recommendation.
We're going to need to do that. So I got to count for 2/3. We need 8 in favor. We're already missing 2 members.
We
So
need-
may want 8 to make our 2/3. So we might want to wait till
1,
the 2
2,
come back.
3, 4, 5,
everybody
6,
voted.
7, 8, 9. Well, you need 2/3 of those that are present.
Yes.
Did we not have that?
Well, not everybody put their hands up, so I just need to
Okay.
do this again.
Can we now have a motion then to, we have a
I'll
motion.
need 7 of these.
So now we have the vote. All in favor?
Yep, okay. Now we're here.
Opposed? Carried. And we have a recommendation.
I'll move the recommendation.
Councillor Wheat moves.
I'll second.
Councillor Balmer seconds. Discussion. Any member of council? Councillor Cardy,
Thank
please.
you, Your Worship. My question is, council in January asked the appropriate department to go out to FRP for quotes on insurance. Then we get this that
Yeah.
says, and this has nothing to do with the presenters of the insurance company. This is
No, sir. Granted.
Then we've been asked to
Oh.
open this back up and go with a suggested quotation of decrease by our current supplier, which I think is fine. I have no problem with that. I still want to see bids from other people. In my mind, you can't ask somebody to do something and then have them come back to you and say, oh, we've got somebody who wants to give you a 5% decrease. Well, that's not what I asked you. I asked
Who
you to
presented
quote.
the recommendation?
That's my concern.
Councillor Chambers, please.
Could I just ask a procedural question, first of all? And that's with regard to the reconsideration. We've just agreed to reconsider the recommendation on going for a request for proposal. So the way I understand that is that the discussion is now on whether we go for a request for proposal. It's not a discussion about whether we're accepting an offer from someone. And I'm having a little bit of difficulty keeping the line between whether we are discussing whether we want to go for a request for proposal or whether we are looking at an offer. The decision about going for a request for proposal, in my mind, is kind of now tainted by the fact that we have an offer. And I'm not sure, first of all, the legalities of that, and I'm not understanding whether we need to set the quotation aside while we decide whether we want to indeed go for a request for proposal, knowing that in the back of our minds we have a quotation out there. It would be nice to have a whole bunch of quotations out there, and maybe that would make the discussion go in the proper direction. But so my question procedurally is, do we decide whether we are going for a request for proposal based on the business the due diligence business practice, or are we looking at whether or not we are accepting the offer? And I need direction on that, what we're talking about here.
Properly, the motion should be to reconsider the matter of insurance for the coming year. Is that your proposal? And if that's the case, what is the motion that we have before us on the reconsideration?
Well, the motion of reconsideration was reconsidering council's direction, which we've done, we've agreed, we're going to open up that resolution. At this point, we have options to, we could go back and affirm our position of January 24th that we want to go forward with the RFP, or we can move forward, council can direct moving forward in another direction, which may be taking the other quote, or there may be some other action council wants to look at.
But the motion before us is not regarding the recommendation that's here.
We've already passed this recommendation to reconsider. That's already been voted on. What we're looking at is under 5. And this is the recommendation from the staff report, but it's not the only option we have. We can go back and just, now we can discuss that motion from the 24th. Do we want to continue in that path, or do we want to go on another path?
But we should not have passed, the recommendation here is 2 parts, and we should not have passed as one resolution.
No, but the second part is just what we're reconsidering. This isn't another recommendation. This is the motion that's being reconsidered.
But it wasn't the proposal that was before us that's being reconsidered. Councillor Pierce, I don't think.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, and that's where I'm at. Like the reconsideration was going for the request for proposal. To me, that's got nothing to do with that second recommendation. To me, we just did a reconsidering of, to your point, of opening it up, whether we go for a request for proposal or not.
I agree.
It's got
with
nothing
that.
to do with the next recommendation of, hey, we've got an offer on the table here. And I think we've got to, we have to draw that line. And really, to Councillor Coleman, or to Councillor Chambers' part, it's kind of, it is unfortunately, it's good but bad.
Yes.
It has muddied things in the sense that,
Yes.
we've made the decision to reconsider. So to me, we've got to finalize that decision before we move on to the next recommendation. We can't combine them.
Do you agree with that?
Yes. I think in my mind, the decision on whether to not go for a request for proposal has to be made or confirmed.
Right.
And once that has been decided, then we are open for further resolutions or
Reinsurance.
or whatever. For example, if we decide that we are abandoning the concept of going out for requests for proposals, that we are willing to take offers outside of a request for proposal, then let's take some offers. We have an offer. There may be other offers. Perhaps if we are following the course of taking offers, then let's do that. Let's take offers. But if we are, first of all, which I believe is correct, deciding whether we are doing a request for proposal, that is what is before us. And we need to decide whether we're doing that, and then once we decide that, then we can move on to whatever is the course of action that we want to take.
Councillor Wheat?
We voted to reconsider, and what we're reconsidering is that staff be directed to issue a request for proposals for 2017. If we want to move on, we have to defeat that first. So I think you need to call a vote on that recommendation, because we're reconsidering. We may vote to not reconsider. And once that's decided, then you move forward with whatever you want to do, but you need to vote on the staff recommendation that we voted on to reconsider first.
Well, the motion to reconsider is to reconsider the matter of insurance for the coming year. It's not the second part, that's the
That's right.
problem.
It's what
Yes.
is number 4, forget number 5.
Correct. All right.
Councillor Carley?
There's some confusion. The confusion is, yes, there is. In January the 24th, we already proposed
Yes, sir.
and said we wanted staff in January
That's correct.
to get us
Yes,
proposals for request.
yes.
If staff had done that, we would have the proposal request now.
Correct.
Where are they? We don't have them.
We will ask that, but
Why are we waiting until October now to make a decision on proposals for request?
I declare the second part of the resolution that we approved invalid. It should not be there. It should be the first part that we're dealing with. So, I'm taking it for granted, council approved that, the reconsideration from the matter of insurance from the county's current insurance provider. Does everyone agree with that, or do you disagree? Thank you. Pardon? What we are reconsidering is the first part of the recommendation.
That is the original recommendation that
Yes.
was made by council on the 23rd.
Yes.
Number 4.
Oh, including the second part.
Yes.
Is that correct?
Yes.
That was there.
Yes.
Okay, so it is valid.
Yes. And now it's open, that recommendation is now open for debate and discussion. The recommendation
Okay.
that staff be directed to issue a request for proposal. It brings it back to the table, so now it's open for someone to debate that.
Councillor Miller? Councillor Miller?
So I apologize, Mr. Mayor, I was just going to move it, but apparently it's already on the table, so.
Do all members of council agree with that interpretation?
No, somebody, we're going to reconsider it. If somebody needs to make the motion, if you want, then you need to vote to defeat that.
Well, I will make the motion to get it on the table then.
The motion is that you're submitting?
Oh, I'm not, I got a question on that, if I could.
Thank you.
We voted to reconsider the recommendation,
And we
right?
approved.
So that's been passed, so why do we need another motion if the,
We have approved it. We have approved the motion of reconsideration.
that's right, so that motion is, the
So we
motion.
will move on from that.
So what,
Thank you.
if I'm understanding this correctly, we voted to reconsider the motion of staff being, or the recommendation that staff be directed to issue requests for proposal, correct?
Correct, reconsideration.
Okay, so if that has been approved that we're reconsidering that,
So how-
why do we gotta put it on the table again? It's there for
So
reconsideration.
how do you wish to proceed?
Call the vote. No, we didn't. We reconsidered for discussion and another vote.
Correct.
So we did back in January. Now we've just reconsidered, we just passed it at 2/3 to reconsider
Yes.
that recommendation. So
That's
let's
correct.
reconsider it and vote on it.
So now, pardon,
Let's vote on it.
is that your interpretation?
I agree with what he's moving, I just think we do need a mover and seconder. Like, the motion would be that staff be directed to issue an RFP. Right? That is the motion that
If
we're
that's-
going to be voting on, but I believe we need a mover and seconder.
Councillor Wheat? Councillor Wheat?
Then why do we have to
Vote to reconsider.
Yes, sir.
Move to motion to defeat it. We made a motion to reconsider it.
Yes.
So now you
We
call
are-
the motion, there's what's on the floor, you've reconsidered
Right.
it, you can either support it or defeat it.
Right.
You have, we're reconsidering it, it's just like when we voted on the check.
Thank you. Pardon?
It's no different when we reconsidered the chickens in the backyard.
Please don't bring that one up.
An example. Chair, it's an example. We reconsidered, we put it on.
Do you
the
agree,
chair,
Madam Clerk?
we supported our motion and not allowed.
Do you agree?
But we did
I
vote for
believe we
reconsider.
need mover and and seconder.
Pardon?
I believe we need a mover and seconder. I stand to be corrected.
A mover and seconder for what motion?
That staff be directed to issue a request for proposal in 2017 for the county's insurance program for the term commencing February 28th.
You're moving that? I'm moving it. Is there a seconder for that motion? Is there a second for that motion? Councillor Miller? Or were you going to second it?
No, I got a question.
Okay, let's have your question. Councillor Carty.
My
You
question
want an
still,
answer.
no, my question still stands is, there was direction given in January
Correct.
to do this. It wasn't done.
Yes.
Why wasn't it done?
Yes. You wish.
No, our staff could answer Councillor
Yes.
Carty's question
Well, let's.
or statement.
Yes. Who is going to answer that question?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, members of council. To
Yes.
add some clarification, although the resolution was passed in January, you can't reasonably go to market until before, 4 months before is a reasonable time to go to market. Staff has been preparing to go to market. They've prepared documents. They were going to release an RFP. We received the offer from Cowan to renew with a 5% reduction, and we certainly felt we had an obligation to bring that before council for consideration. There was a motion to go to market this year for insurance. We have representatives here that could address any questions about going to the market or about the offer that's before us and provide further information in that regard. But I certainly have an obligation to present that to you. If council decides that we're going to go to market, we'll be releasing an RFP.
But we did.
And that's the only way to get quotes. It's a full RFP process. It's a very complex process and complicated process. And it needs, if it needs to move forward, that's why this motion is being brought now. We would need to move forward now to release the RFP, as was originally planned. If council sees fit to accept this offer instead of going to market this year at a 5% reduction, then that's why we brought the motion forward for consideration.
Councillor Carty, did you have an answer to your question?
Yes.
Do you accept that? Councillor Simons?
Mr. Mayor, my question was to ask staff to give us a report of what they, which it just done, so thank you.
What they originally,
I was going to ask staff to give their report, which they've just done, so. My question for
do you wish to respond?
I think Councillor Simon's saying is that I've addressed how this came about,
You have.
coming before council this
Thank you.
evening.
Thank you.
Councillor Gatler?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. There's a letter on page 5 with no date on it. Can you tell me when that was received?
It was received approximately a week ago. I could look in my email notes here and tell you.
In the last couple of weeks?
Yes, yes.
Thank you.
Councillor Weed?
Nothing to do with the recommendation that's before. That has something to do with number 5. We're still dealing with number 4.
And how would you like to deal with that? Councillor Simons?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. My question is, if we do go with your recommendation of accepting the insurance premium at 5% less for 2000 and...
Well, that's not,
Point of order, Mr. Mayor, that's not on the floor right now.
Okay, okay. I take it back. I take it back.
We're just trying to deal with it.
I'm trying to get my question out, but
Nobody jumped.
so,
call the vote on number 4.
and it is to go to RFP, correct? That's what we're voting on.
Yeah, we vote in favor.
Pardon?
If we vote in favor of going for RFP.
Do we have
The
a
motion on the floor is that staff be directed to issue a request for proposals for in
moved
2017.
and seconded?
Yes.
Anyone wish to speak to that motion at this time? If not, Pardon? You want to record it? You're asking for a recorded. Any right to choose. Anyone wish to comment? Councillor Pierce.
Just a question, if I could, for clarification before we vote on this. So let's say in fact we did vote to once again go for RFP. If we look at it in the sense of, job postings and stuff like that, could we not, again, I'm just looking at optics here, right? If we don't, it might not look the best. So what I'm asking here, is there a way to go to RFP in an expedited way? Like sometimes they'll put a job posting up and then normally let's say it's up for 6 weeks and they just put it up for a week. So in essence, we can put it up and others might not have a chance to get in, you know what I mean?
There's a few providers in the market. There's a few people that provide municipal insurance. There's about 5 different companies that provide municipal insurance. When we went to market last time, we did receive proposals from several companies. The RFP document is very extensive. It includes a list of all the assets of the municipality, claims history. We review wordings. It's a very complicated RFP that can't just be responded to by an insurance company in a week turnover. It's not like getting a quote on your car insurance, for instance. Companies need at least a month to respond to an RFP once it's issued.
Councillor Cardy.
But you did just say that you would go out 4 months before your policies due.
Yeah.
So this would be the time to go out.
The intent was to release the RFP, wait for the insurers to respond, and evaluate it during the period of time.
There you go. So
that I'm absent.
Councillor Chambers.
I support the motion to go for an RFP for several reasons. First of which is it's good business practice to do that. You get an indication of what all players are willing to bid for the business of the county. That being said, another reason that I am supporting the route of going for a request for proposal is I believe, and I'm not an expert in procurement, but if you say are on record that you are going for an RFP to be fair to all parties, which you have to be, I believe you should fulfill that. I don't believe you should stop halfway and take an offer from one of the players outside of the RFP, and that's essentially what we're doing. We're deciding if we could decide not to go for the RFP and accept this proposal. That, I believe, is an unfair practice to all players, and I believe that we have an obligation to be fair to all players. I'm not saying that the offer is not good, but I'm saying that the offer should not have been made independent of the fact that we're going for an RFP. I would like some legal advice on this, but the clearest and purest way to do this is go for the RFP, and then all players can bid accordingly. And that's a good business practice, and it is a clean way to move forward after maybe a little bit of cloudiness in how we're procuring insurance.
Thank you. Any other speakers? The motion that we have is that we call for, as you see, a request for proposals for the county's insurance program, etc. Everyone clear? Any other speakers? None? All in favor? Pardon? Oh, I can stand. All in favor? Thank you. Opposed? Opposed, are we?
The motion is carried. 7 to 4.
I believe that completes our business. Is that correct?
Yes.
So if there's no other item of business, our meeting is adjourned.